A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant development that has sent ripples through Australian politics, Peter Dutton, the leader of the Liberal Party, has labeled the situation surrounding Russia's request to establish an air base in Indonesia as a potential catastrophic failure of diplomatic relations. The revelation, which emerged from military reports, indicates that Moscow has formally sought to deepen its military presence in the Indo-Pacific region by basing long-range aircraft in Papua, located less than 1,500 kilometers from the Australian mainland. Dutton's comments underscore the gravity of the situation, suggesting that if Labour leaders Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese were not informed about this move prior to its public disclosure, it would reflect poorly on their handling of international relations. This is a very, very troubling development. The suggestion that somehow Russia would have some of their assets based in Indonesia only a short distance from, obviously, the north of our country, he stated. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese confirmed that he had requested a briefing on the matter and that Australian officials were actively seeking clarity from their Indonesian counterparts. "We are seeking further information from Indonesia about it. That's the way you deal with international relations," he explained, emphasizing Australia's desire to limit Russian influence in the region. Albanese's interaction with journalists turned tense as he faced repeated inquiries about his prior knowledge of Russia's application. "I've answered the question. I can't answer it any different way," he snapped, highlighting the pressure he faces amid ongoing electoral campaigns. The reports regarding Russia's intent to station its aerospace forces at the Manuhwa Air Force Base in Biak Numfor were first published on the well-respected military website Janes. Dutton criticized the government's diplomatic efforts, questioning when Labour became aware of Russia's encroachment in the region. "We need to make sure that the government explains exactly what has happened here. Did the Prime Minister know about this before it was publicly announced by the President of Indonesia?" he demanded. Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong confirmed that Australian officials reached out to Indonesia after learning about the reports. "I'm aware of the reports, and I can be clear that we, as a government, have reached out to confirm those reports and to understand whether or not those reports are accurate and what the status of those requests from Russia are," she stated. Defense Minister Richard Merles added that Indonesia has not yet responded to Russia's request. "We have already been engaged with Indonesia on this request. I'd note at this point, Indonesia has not responded to this request," he said. Despite the challenges, Albanese insisted that the relationship between Australia and Indonesia remains extremely positive and stronger than ever. "We'll respond in an appropriate way with our friends in Indonesia," he affirmed. The facility mentioned in the reports is home to the Indonesian Air Force's Aviation Squadron 27, and the alert from Janes indicated that the request was made following a meeting between Indonesian Defense Minister Shafri Shamsuddin and Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu in February. This incident comes amid a backdrop of increasing military ties between Moscow and Jakarta, highlighted by their first joint naval drills last November. The situation is further complicated by ongoing tensions regarding China's military presence in waters surrounding Australia, prompting both major political parties to reconsider foreign ownership of the port of Darwin. Both parties have unequivocally condemned Russian President Vladimir Putin, labeling him a murderous dictator and an authoritarian leader who has broken international law. Wong emphasized the Australian government's commitment to sanctions against Russia, as well as military and humanitarian support for Ukraine. Dutton, on the other hand, expressed his party's commitment to enhancing Australia's defense spending, criticizing the Albanese government for allegedly withdrawing significant funds from the defense sector. "What we've said all along is that we're committed to additional funding in defense, and you can't live in the world that we live in at the moment and pretend that you can invest into defense," he remarked. He accused the Prime Minister of being reckless for taking $80 billion out of defense spending, linking it to a historical pattern of Labour's fiscal management. "We have, and always will have, a better bottom line than Labour, but we will invest into defense," he asserted. As the situation unfolds, Australia's Department of Defense has been approached for comments regarding the proposed Russian airbase in Indonesia, but responses are pending. The implications of this development could significantly impact Australia's diplomatic strategy and regional security dynamics. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.